Okay, we're live, everyone. Shalom. I'm Brother Doug with the Awakened by Yahuwah Assembly today. Got Brother Ray with us, Sister Sally, Brother Moses, and Sister Alyssa. We got Cody as a guest. We got Sister Shoshana and Brother Dennis also on. So we are going to be going into our Torah portion as we usually do. I'll be using my word software here just because it's really easy for comparisons like this. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to go to select text to compare. I'm going to go here. We'll do, where is it at? So we're into Pentateuch. And we're going to go close. Okay, so numbers 16 to 18. This is the rebellion of Korah. Okay, and Korah, son of Issachar, son of Kohath. Oh, my bad. Ishar, not Issachar, my bad. Ishar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and Aun, the son of Phaleth, the son of Reuben, spoke. And those rose up before Masha, and 250 men of the sons of Yasharal, chiefs of the assembly, chosen counselors, the men of renown. They rose up against Moshe and Aaron and said, "Let it be enough for you that all the congregations set apart, and Yahuwah is among them. And why do you set up yourselves against the congregation of Yahuwah?" This is a perfect chapter that deals with predestination here. You're going to see how Yahuwah deals with people that assume that he's among everyone. Okay. And when Moshe heard it, he fell on his face. He spoke to Korah and all his assembly, saying, "Yahuwah has visited and known those that are his. So we don't get to decide who is his. He decides who is his." Okay? We can't be presumptuous and say everyone is his. Okay? And who are set apart and has brought them to himself. Sound familiar? Yahusha died so he could bring us a set-apart bride to himself. And whom he has chosen for himself, he has brought to himself. This do ye, take care to yourselves, censors. Korah and all his company, so they're supposed to take censors here, and put fire on them and put incense on them before Yahuwah tomorrow. And it shall come to pass that the man whom Yahuwah has chosen, he shall be set apart. Let it be enough for you, you sons of Levi. All right. And Moshe said to Korah, "Hearken to me, you sons of Levi." So now we're at verse 9 in Numbers 16. "Is it a little thing for you that the Alua of Yasharal has separated you from the congregation of Yasharal and brought you near to himself to minister in the services of the tabernacle of Yahuwah and to stand before the tabernacle to minister for them? And he has brought you near, and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you, and do you seek to be priests also? Thus, you and all the congregation which is gathered together against Yahuwah, and who is Aaron that you murmur against him?" Meaning that you are not really murmuring against Aaron and Moshe. You're murmuring against the Almighty. Masha sent to call Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab. They said, "We will not go up. Is it a little thing that you have brought us up to a land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, that you altogether rule over us? You are a prince, and have you brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, and you have given us an inheritance of the land and vineyards. Would you have put out the eyes of those men? We will not go up." And Masha was exceedingly indignant and said to Yahuwah, "Do thou take no heed to their sacrifice. I have not taken away the desire of any one of them, neither have I hurt any one of them." Okay, it kind of reminds me how Yahuwah says to Jeremiah, "Yeah, don't pray for these people."
Yeah.
And Masha said to Korah, "Set apart your company and be ready before Yahuwah, you and Aaron, and they tomorrow. And take each man his censer, and you shall put incense upon them, and shall bring each one his censer before Yahuwah, 250 censers, and you and Aaron shall bring each his censer." And each man took his censer, and they put on them fire and laid incense on them. And Moshe and Aaron stood by the doors of the tabernacle of witness. And Korah raised up against them all his company by the door of the tabernacle of witness, and the esteem of Yahuwah appeared to all the congregation. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, "Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation. I will consume them at once." Basically meaning, yeah, okay, I'm done. I'm going to give you new people. This is it. And they shall on their faces, and they fell on their faces and said, "Oh, Elohim, the Elohim of spirits and of all flesh, if one man has sinned, the wrath of Yahuwah upon the whole congregation," meaning if one man has sinned, shall Yahuwah's wrath go upon everyone. So you see that Moshe is kind of being like Abraham here. He's like, are you going to punish everyone just because of a couple individuals? Interesting thing to note here. I think this is the only time Yahuwah is called the Elohim of spirits in all flesh. You don't really see that at any other place in Scripture. In the book of Enoch, there's a similar title. I think it's called he's called the Master of Spirits. So it's pretty interesting. Let's see here, verse 23. Moshe separates the people from the rebels' tents. Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, "Speak to the congregation, saying, depart from the company of Korah round about." And Moshe rose up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and all the elders of Yasharal went with him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, "Separate yourselves from the tents of these stubborn men, and touch nothing that belongs to them, lest you be consumed with them in all their sin." Okay, and they stood aloof from the tent of Korah round about, and Dathan and Abiram went forth and stood by the doors of their tents, and their wives, and their children, and their store. And Moshe said, "Hereby shall you know that Yahuwah has sent me to perform all these works, that I have not done them of myself. If these men shall die according to the death of all men, if also their visitation shall be according to the visitation of all men, then Yahuwah has not sent me. But if Yahuwah shall show by a wonder, and the earth shall open her mouth and swallow them up, their houses and their tents and all that belongs to them, they shall go down alive into Hades, and then you shall know that these men have provoked Yahuwah." By the way, Hades is just another word for Shaul, right? So it's pretty much the same thing. Hades is just a Greek term for for the underworld, the grave. Go ahead, Ray. I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So I remember there was a brother who said that Korah and everybody went down into the place of torment alive. Would you agree with that or not at all?
As far as them being brought to the grave, yeah. I don't think they were tormented when they're alive, though, because when they're brought down to the grave, they die. Everyone that goes down to the grave goes to death. So that's where I would disagree. They're not being tortured alive. If you go down to Sheol, whether natural causes or whatever, you die. And we're going to see how, even later on in this chapter, it even talks about how it was a plague, who had killed them. So they're not being tortured in the bad part of Sheol alive. So that's the only thing I would disagree with. So when he ceased speaking all these words, the ground clave as under beneath them, and the ground opened and swallowed them up. Their houses, all the men and that were with Korah and their cattle, and they went down and all that they had alive into Hades, and the ground covered them, and they perished from the midst among the congregation. Yes, so they did go to Sheol, they did go to Hades alive, but they died when they went down there. And all Yashrael round about them fled from the sound of them, for they said, lest the earth swallowed us up. And fire went forth from Yahuwah and devoured 250 men that offered incense. Okay. Censers are reserved to set apart use. And Yahuwah said to Moshe and to Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, take up the brazen censers. Interesting that Septuagint says brazen censers. That's interesting. Make a little note of that. Out of the midst of the men that have been burnt, and scatter the strange fire yonder, for they have set apart the censers. Of these sinners against their own souls, and do you make them beaten plates and a covering to the altar, because they were brought before Yahuwah. Sorry, guys. They were brought before Yahuwah and set apart, and they became a sign to the children of Yashrael. And Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, took the brazen censers, which the men who had been burnt brought near, and they put them as a covering on the altar. A memorial to the children of Yashrael, that no stranger might draw near who is not of the seed of Aaron, to offer incense before Yahuwah. So he shall not be as Korah, as they that conspired with them, as Yahuwah spoke to him by the hand of Moshe. This is why I always really get on brothers and sisters' cases that think they can just, that because we're in a Melchizedek priesthood, anyone can be a priest doing their own sacrifices. This is why I get on people, because it clearly shows there are certain things in the Torah no other person can do but Levites. Okay? So regardless of the priesthood we're in, no one but Levites can be doing this commandment. Okay, you can't offer incense to Yahuwah not being a descendant of Aaron. Okay. So anyway, to offer incense before Yahuwah, so he shall not be as Korah, as they that conspired with him, as Yahuwah spoke to him by the hand of Moshe. Okay, verse 41. And the children of Yashrael murmured the next day against Moshe and Aaron, saying, you have killed the people of Yahuwah. And it came to pass, when the congregation combined against Moshe and Aaron, that they ran impetuously to the tabernacle witness, and the cloud covered it, and the splendor of Yahuwah appeared. So multiple times we're seeing this phrase being mentioned here. The splendor of Yahuwah appeared. Interesting. And Moshe said to, Moshe and Aaron went in front of the tabernacle witness. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aaron, saying, depart out of the midst of this congregation. I will consume them at once. And they fell upon their faces. Okay. And Moshe said to Aaron, take a censer and put on it fire from the altar, and put incense on it, and carry it away quickly into the camp, and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone forth from the presence of Yahuwah, and it has begun to destroy the people. And Aaron took as Moshe spoke to him, and ran among the congregation, for already the plague had begun among the people, and he put on incense and made an atonement for the people. Okay. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague ceased. And they that died in the plague were 14,700, besides those that died on account of Korah. So again, even though they're thrown into Sheol alive, they're not being tortured alive. It says again that they died in the account of Korah. So when they were thrown down into Sheol, they died in Sheol. Okay. So, and Aaron returned to Moshe to the door of the tabernacle witness, and the plague ceased. So that's the end of the rebellion of Korah. So I think what we can learn here, obviously, is where it's mentioned all over Scripture. You don't mess with Yahuwah's anointed. You don't. Listen. You can have problems with someone. You can not agree with them on everything, but listen, you don't challenge Yahuwah's authority. Okay.
That's right.
So again,
Look what happened to Absalom after he went against David. Okay. There's example after example of this throughout Scripture.
Yeah, and Absalom is actually he's sinning in multiple ways. If you know Torah, he's because his dad obviously is an Israelite, right? They both serve Yahuwah, right? So what is he doing? He's seeking to murder his neighbor. Okay, what does Exodus 20 say? Okay, so there's a lot of things wrong with what Absalom was trying to do.
Yeah.
So I understand David from a father's perspective, but Yahuwah, I think at that point was done giving him mercy. Absalom mercy at that point.
Absolutely.
He's like, listen, this child is trying to kill his own dad.
My anointed, and that's that.
So,
Yeah,
anyway.
you don't mess with Yahuwah's anointed.
Hey, Mom, can you start number 17 for me?
Okay. Yahuwah said to Moshe, speak to the children of Israel and get 12 staffs from them, one from the leader of each of their ancestral tribes. Write the names of each man on his staff. On the staff of Levi, write Aaron's name, for there must be one staff for the head of each ancestral tribe. Place them in the tabernacle in front of the testimony where I meet with you. The staff belonging to the man I choose will sprout, and I will rid myself of the constant grumbling against you by the children of Israel. So Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, and their leaders gave them 12 staffs, one for the leader of each of their ancestral tribes. And Aaron's staff was among them. Moshe placed the staff before Yahuwah in the tabernacle. The next day, Moshe entered the tent of the testimony and saw that Aaron's staff, which represented the house of Levi, had not only sprouted, but had budded.
Let me know if you're having trouble.
No, my eyes are bad because they're itching like crazy.
Where?
Oh, I'm sorry. Blossomed and produced almonds. Then Moshe brought out of all the staffs from Yahuwah's presence to all the children of Israel. They looked at them, and each man took his own staff. Yahuwah said to Moshe, put back Aaron's staff in front of the testimony to be kept as a sign to the rebellious. This will put an end to their grumbling against me so that they will not die. Moshe did just as Yahuwah commanded him. The children of Israel said to Moshe, we will die. We are lost. We are lost. Anyone who even comes near the tabernacle of Yahuwah will die. Are we all going to die? Ready to go on?
All right, where did you leave off?
We're right at the end of 17. 17 was a short chapter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll pick up at 18.
Okay.
Let me just see here. There's a couple of interesting things I saw here. What I thought was really interesting was in verse 4 here, where it says, I will be made known to you. The Targum Onkelos says, I will appoint my word to be with you. So it's interesting, the word of Yahuwah being mentioned there. Let's see here. See here, according to the house of our fathers, 12 rods. I was trying to see if anything else we could probably just jump right into chapter 18. Obviously, this is where we get the staff of Aaron and all that, and ripens almonds. I know a lot of people have made connections here, and I'm not disagreeing with the connection that the almond staff has something to do with Yahusha. I'm not disagreeing. I would like to find confirmation on that spiritually points to Yahusha. I have seen other things in the Levitical priesthood that definitely do, and Aaron is a type of Yahusha sometimes. But the ripened almond staff of itself, I really don't see anything yet to give confirmation of that. Just of itself, I don't see anything that points to Yahusha there. I could be wrong, but I don't see anything that directly would point to him from an almond staff. See here, against the rebels, Aaron's rod, rebellious people, that the murmurings. Okay, so we see here, nothing to expound there. Yahuwah commanded Moshe, so did they. The children of Yashrael spake to Moshe, saying, behold, some of us are slain with the sword. Behold, some are swallowed up by the earth. Behold, some perish with the plague. Okay. Everyone that touches the tabernacle of Yahuwah dies. Shall we die utterly? So this is important too, because we see later on, Yahuwah does make commandments about normal Israelites cannot touch the ark. They cannot approach to the altar. So at this point in time, they're even afraid after this to even go into the tent.
Well, at least they're showing some respect. I can't believe that all those Israelites, after they watched 250 people, that they did not learn from that. That blows my mind, that they could go ahead and do the same thing. And it's amazing to me. It's truly amazing.
Okay, so let's see here. All right, so we got chapter 18 here, the charge of the priests and Levites. And Yahuwah spoke to Aaron, saying, you and your sons and your father's house shall bear the sins of the set apart things, and you and your sons shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. And I mean, this is talked about in Hebrews, by the way, Hebrews 8. Paul pretty much breaks it down how much better a Melchizedek priesthood is because of that. That you don't have to depend on a fallible mortal man to atone, to offer sacrifices for atonement, and that how much better of a priest Yahusha is, who is perfect and did it once and for all for atonement. So anyway, and take to yourself your brothers, the tribe of Levi, the family of your father, let them be joined to you. Let them minister to you, and you and your sons with you before the tabernacle of witness. And they shall keep your charges and the charges of the tabernacle. Only they shall not approach the set apart vessels and the altar. So both they and you shall not die. And they shall be joined to you and shall keep the charges of the tabernacle, witness in all the services of the tabernacle, and a stranger shall not approach to you. You shall keep the charges of the set apart things and the charges of the altar, and so there shall not be anger among the children of Yasharal. And I have taken your brothers, the Levites, out of the midst of the children of Yasharal, a present given to Yahuwah to minister in the services of the tabernacle of witness. And you and your sons after you shall keep up your priestly ministration according to the whole manner of the altar and that which is within the veil. And you shall minister in the services as the office of your priesthood. And the stranger that the stranger that comes near shall die. So again, we see this concept of Yahuwah is making alterations to his law here because he realizes he can't trust regular Israelites to come near his dwelling and for them to come with a pure, righteous heart to his dwelling. So he's making it only Levites can do that. Only Levites can come into the most set apart place and all that. So we see a foreshadowing of that here, it seems like. The priest's portion. By the way, I was reading this last night too. You could probably cross this with, I think this is a reiteration, or no, my bad. The Deuteronomy one would be a reiteration. I was reading Deuteronomy, I think 18 last night. If you cross this with Numbers 18, it's giving like a recount in Deuteronomy 18, just FYI. So the priest portion, and Yahuwah said to Aaron, and behold, I have given you the charge of the first fruits of all things set apart to me by the children of Yasharal, and I have given them to you as honor, and to your sons after you for a perpetual ordinance. And let this be to you from all the set apart things that are set apart to me, even the burnt offerings, all their gifts, all their sacrifices, from every trespass offering of theirs, from all their sin offerings, whatever things they give to me of all their set apart things, they shall be yours and your sons. But in the most set apart place shall you eat them. Every male shall eat them. You and your sons, they shall be set apart to you. Now, what's interesting, it says every male. So I wonder, Mom, if these certain, no, I'm not saying that the women couldn't eat any sacrifice, but it seems like these specific ones where only the sons could eat. Because it says all your males are allowed to eat them. So that's, I want to make a little note about that in verse 10 on my notebook here. All your males. Numbers 18:10. And this shall be to you of the first fruits of their gifts of all the wave offerings of the children of Yasharal. To you have I given them, to your sons and your daughters with you, a perpetual ordinance. Every clean person in your house shall eat them. Every first offering of oil and every first offering of wine, their first fruits of grain, whatsoever they may give to Yahuwah, to you have I given them. So pretty much all the offerings, even the tithes and everything, they're allowed to have a portion of that is given to Yahuwah. All the first fruits that are in their land, whatsoever they shall offer to Yahuwah shall be yours. Every clean person in your house shall eat them. Now that's a key thing there. Every clean person. shall eat them. So, and what he is referring to is, I think we did a study about this recently. He's talking about ceremonial cleanness. So as long as they're ceremonially clean, of the house of Aaron. Just making some notes here. Some of these are key commandments here that I just want to make a note of. Every devoted thing among the children of Yashrael shall be yours. Everything that opens the womb of all flesh, whatsoever they bring to Yahuwah, whether man or beast, shall be yours. Only the firstborn of men shall be surely redeemed. You shall redeem the firstborn of unclean cattle. The reason they're redeeming the firstborn of the unclean, because you don't sacrifice unclean animals. So that would be the reason behind that. Verse 16, and the redemption of them from a month old, their valuation 5 shekels, it is 20 oboles, according to the set apart shekel. But you shall not redeem the firstborn of calves, and firstborn of sheep, and the firstborn of goats. They are set apart. And you shall pour their blood upon the altar. You shall burn. You shall offer the fat as a burnt offering for a sweet smell savor to Yahuwah. That's an important little cross reference there. Offer the fat. Again, just to clarify here, this is not talking about the fat of animals you kill for food. Just FYI. It's talking about sacrifices here. Okay. Verse 18. And the flesh shall be yours, as also the breast of the wave offering, and as the right shoulder, it shall be yours. Every special offering of the set apart things whatsoever the children of Yashrael shall specially offer to Yahuwah, I have given to you and to your sons and to your daughters, with you a perpetual ordinance. It is a covenant of salt forever before Yahuwah, for you and your seed after you. And Yahuwah said to Aaron, you shall have no inheritance in their land, neither shall you have any portion among them, for I am your portion, and your inheritance in the midst of the children of Yashrael. So again, those that don't know the Torah that well might be confused about this. Basically, it's the concept that instead of the firstborn of the sons of Israel in general, Yahuwah substituted every firstborn of the 12 tribes for the tribe of Levites, the Levites specifically. So basically, every Levite belongs to Yahuwah, and that's why they have this. Their inheritance is Yahuwah himself, because they belong to him. So anyway, okay. And behold, I have given the sons of Levi every tithe in Yashrael for an inheritance for their services, whereinsoever they perform ministry in the tabernacle of witness. And the children of Yashrael shall no more draw near to the tabernacle of witness to incur fatal guilt. See, so basically, no longer can regular Israelites go to his dwelling because they've done these things. Now there has to be a barrier. Now there has to be a barrier because now Yahuwah sees that there's a lot of sin in them, and so now their sin is separating them from Yahuwah. You see that in the New Testament. The New Testament talks about that. So, okay. All right, verse 23. And the Levite himself shall perform the service of the tabernacle witness, and they shall bear their iniquities. It is a perpetual statute throughout their generations, and in the midst of the children of Yashrael. They shall not receive an inheritance, because I have given a distinct portion to the Levites for an inheritance, the tithes of the children of Yashrael, whosoever whatsoever they shall offer to Yahuwah. Therefore I said to them, in the midst of the children of Yashrael, they shall have no inheritance. The heave offering of the priests out of the Levites' portion. Verse 25. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, you shall also speak to Levites, and shall say to them, if you take the tithe from the children of Yashrael, which I've given you from them for inheritance, then shall you separate from it a heave offering to Yahuwah, a tenth of the tenth. And your heave offerings shall be reckoned to you as grain from the floor, and an offering from the winepress. So shall you also separate from all your offerings of Yahuwah out of all your tithes, whatsoever you shall receive from the children of Yashrael, you shall give of them an offering to Yahuwah, to Aaron the priest. Of all your gifts, you shall offer an offering to Yahuwah of every first fruit, the set apart part from it. Okay. And you shall say to them, when you shall offer the first fruits from it, then shall it be reckoned to the Levites as produce from the threshing floor, and as produce from the winepress. So basically, in layman's terms, all these offerings are like their food. That's their food. Basically, that's why we see in Leviticus and Deuteronomy, where it's talking about the feast, it says, do not forsake the Levites and all that. Okay. And you shall eat it in any place, you and your families, for this is your reward for your services in the tabernacle witness. And you shall not bear sin by reason of it. You shall have offered an offering of first fruits from it. You shall not profane the set apart things of the children of Yashrael, that you die not. So see how serious this is with the Levites? Like they're given like this high responsibility. You screw up with these offerings, you're bearing their sin. So now their sin's on you. So it's kind of like basically the difference with the Levitical priesthood and Melchizedek priesthood. You got a perfect priest in the Melchizedek priesthood that is not going to mess up with the once for all he did, versus the Levitical priesthood where half the time they would screw up. And then they would have to do another offering because they screwed up in the offering. And that's sin. So now they had to do another offering for sin. And they would have to do offerings for the sins of the people and for their own sins and the sins of their house. It was a lot more tedious in the Levitical priesthood. Yeah, well, that doctrine, brother, has kind of creeped into this movement too. Brother Ray was mentioning that some Christian pastors think they're spiritual Levites. I can't really attack Christianity on that because we have people in this movement that take that same belief system. So I can't really like poke the finger at Christianity when we have the same problem in this movement where people are doing sacrifices in their backyard. So I can't really attack Christian pastors on that one. That problem is a lot more widespread than Christianity. But anyway. So let me see here. So now we're going to be going to our next portion. I think we might take a brief intermission here, just in case anyone has to have something to eat or needs coffee or whatever. So we're going to be going back on the record, and then we'll be getting into, I believe, 1 Samuel. So we just did Numbers 16 to 18. Okay, so we're going to be doing 1 Samuel 11 to 12 next, and then we just have Matthew after that. So please stay tuned, brothers and sisters. We'll be back very soon. Shabbat Shalom to all of our brothers and sisters out there, and we'll be right back.